What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, giving you guys a review for Boruto episode 142. And I gotta start off by saying this: if you were one of the people who said that Boruto's cellmate was gonna be one of the people who attacked Kokuri, congratulations, you are a great prognosticator. And I gotta go a step further: if you're one of the people who said that Benga might be involved, you are a great prognosticator. With that being said, I gotta say, man, so I like that they made this decision last week to start with in medias res, which is basically starting at the midway portion of a story and filling in the back details as the story progresses. And it's given us the opportunity where now you have this scenario where we know that Boruto's on a mission to protect Kokuri. However, as Boruto's in the medical ward, he's learning like, okay, wait a second, there's no scratches on him, it's got to be a prisoner. That means that somebody's actually after Kokuri that's working in the prison. There's got to be some connections elsewhere, and he realizes that he can't really keep him safe unless he's in the same cell as he and Mitsuki. However, things take a turn for the more darker if you take a look at it, because as they're coming up with this plan, they're whispering, and yet at the same time, like, they're kind of off to the side, and unbeknownst to them, because they have somebody that's inside of their cell who is essentially the one that is betraying them. Because that's going on, the fact that they're kind of cooled over on the side together, it makes you wonder, okay? It really makes you wonder, is there more than meets the eye with these two? So I like the fact that that bit of foreshadowing is being set up there. Now, the other thing that I thought was kind of interesting about this is the fact that they're continuing to use conflict in more ways other than just some type of knockdown, drag 'em out fight, or relying on the overall melodrama. So I like when conflict is used in this way. When you guys hear me say that, you know, you don't need action in every episode and you don't need uber melodrama in every episode, there's other ways to kind of build tension and raise the stakes. Having the little stuff like with Boruto and Mitsuki going into the prison yard and attempting to gather information, all while Sarda's trying to gather intel on her side, that's a good way to lay the groundwork for conflict, but that's not actual conflict. Now, the actual conflict in this comes where you get the payoff to them trying to gather this information, and they go meet with one of the prisoners who, you know, tells Boruto like, hey, you know, information is gonna be gold. Information's gold. If you want to get any type of intel on what Benga's true weakness is, then you're gonna have to go steal this light bulb for me. And so when you have that moment where Boruto is looking at it and he's like, oh, I can get to this and no problem. I like how Mitsuki just casually steps in and reminds Boruto like, hey, do not use ninjutsu. If you use any type of ninjutsu, they're gonna know that the celestial prison seal has not been placed on us. You can't pull something like this off using ninjutsu. You're going to be very, very careful. And you see Boruto like, okay, I got it. And Boruto's running around, and I like how the prisoners they're all placing their bets like, oh, there's no way he's gonna pull this off. And Boruto's cellmate, the one that's writing the letter, all of a sudden he accidentally puts his money into the jar saying that Boruto's gonna pull it off. And I thought that that was pretty telling right there. I didn't know that it was fixed, but I had a feeling that there's gonna be a plot twist on that. And sure enough, as Boruto's running around, the first thing that Boruto notices is that security is a lot tighter. But Boruto being a ninja at tuning level, I mean, sneaking around like that should be something that he could do even without having to use any type of ninjutsu. But what I like is how as he starts climbing the tower, the side of the tower, Boruto himself says this would be so much easier if I could use chakra, if I could use ninjutsu. And Boruto cannot use anything that's going to draw any type of attention, so he's having to use his own physical strength, which I thought was a nice touch, because one of the common complaints that people have with Boruto is that you never really see Boruto struggle. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's one of the common complaints, that everything comes a little too easy to him. So having the little small moments like this in the episode where you see Boruto and he's having to essentially think outside the box and rely on his own physical talents in order to achieve his end goal, and it isn't something he accomplishes right away, I thought that that was really interesting. I thought that set up for a really good payoff. And so when you get to the part where all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, Boruto might pull this off, you also see that they have explosive tags all over the place. And so if Boruto makes the wrong move, Boruto can get himself blown up, and either that or put in a position where he has to use ninjutsu to protect himself. So I like how, again, they just raise the stakes in that moment in a way to where you as the viewer, as soon as you see that, you realize, okay, this isn't gonna be the cakewalk that Boruto thought it was gonna be. So I thought that was cool. I also thought it was cool how when Boruto gets into the actual light tower, he takes off the light bulb and all of a sudden everything goes off. You see the lights all over the place, and that's when you see Benga, and he's like, okay, just go ahead and kill him. We'll identify him after we get the bodies. So that lets me know one or two things. Either Benga knew it was Boruto, or Benga is at that situation where he's just like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna go for broke right now. So I thought that was really interesting to see that element of it right there. And I like how you see the contrast between Benga and the prison ward Mujo, because Benga, you can tell, like, this dude has gone power hungry. He's gone on a power trip, and the fact that we see him on that juice, right? He's drinking that juice in his office. Obviously that's alcohol, but you know, I call it that juice, right? The type of juice that people drink when they need to get some gasoline because they too pussy to do something on their own. So you see this dude, he's drinking his juice and everything, and he's all liquored up, and you can tell it's impairing his judgment a little bit. So I thought that was interesting, that, you know, you see a potential weakness in him, but it's not something that Boruto and Sarada and Mitsuki would be able to exploit. So I thought that was kind of interesting to see that. I like how you see how he's taking bribes from the dude who's in the Majina Bandits, who's in the lockdown. I thought all of that was really nice. And I gotta say, right, like the moment when Mitsuki realizes that Boruto was set up, I thought Mitsuki was gonna swing on the old boy, because, you know, like I joked last week that Boruto needed to make sure he didn't drop the soap, and one of you guys said like, oh man, you know, Mitsuki's just waiting for his perfect opportunity. This moment right here lets you know, like, if anybody's gonna play hide the snake with Boruto, it's gonna be Mitsuki, baby. Like, I like how Mitsuki was just, okay, I'm about to handle this right now. But Boruto being Boruto looks at the situation, and you know, somebody's gonna say, well, he used ninjutsu, right? He used ninjutsu, but because of the scenario he was in, because the lights were so bright and shining all over the place, because there was lightning all over the background before that, Boruto could use a lightning release jutsu to flare things up, and people would have suspicions, but they wouldn't be able to confirm anything. So I like that, you know, Boruto looked at the situation and used it. You know, that's something Sasuke would have done in part one. So I thought that was pretty cool to see that. Now, when it comes to Sarada, I gotta say, you know, Sarada got a little sloppy in this episode. Like, for the most part, she came through clutch. Don't get me wrong, she came through clutch. You know, she was able, through her interactions with Mujo, to realize that Mujo isn't in the best shape to call any of the shots. This dude's on heart medicine. And when you look at Benga's really the one calling the shots, and it's because of Sarada that they realize that they have to get the intel a different way. They have to get it via their own type of investigation. They're going to have to get it from the inside, because Sarada is doing the research from the outside. So I like that little element right there. That was really nice. Like, that kind of goes back to what I've been saying. You know, this prison setup, the way that the teams are working, really reminds me of what we got in the Sasuke Resident novel. And just kind of speaking on that, like, I like the element of the prison fight, but I thought it was a little odd that the prison guards didn't break up the fights that were going on, and you find out that one of Boruto's cellmates was trying to protect the flowers. And I don't think that's going to be the person that necessarily is the one that's behind the potential stabbing of Kokuri. I don't think that that's going to be the case. However, what I will say is that, you know, I think the person we have to keep our eye on, I hate making predictions like this on a weekly basis, but I think the one that you probably want to keep your eye on is not going to be the one with the red hair who's bribing and getting the information. I know a lot of people are very high on that, and my gut instinct is to say it's him, but you know, I say for the sake of conflict and just, I know if I was an editorial assistant and I was overseeing this story, I would say that the person that would make the biggest twist for the readers would be the viewers in this case, not the readers, and that's just a bad habit. But for the viewers in this case, I think the best person to pay off that plot twist would be the one that was writing that letter. Again, I mean, it might be something a little too obvious if it's the one with the red hair, but I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how they kind of pay that off. And what I will say is the fact that, you know, as Sarada gets that book, because obviously Boruto gets the information from the dude he made the bet with, but after Sarada gets that book and you see that Mujo has essentially realized that the beds of the prisoners aren't assigned based on who comes in first, but instead it's assigned based on who Benga actually gets paid from. He's taking bribes from the prisoners, and him being the arrogant son of a bitch that he is, he's actually keeping a ledger. And so what I like about that is it shows two things. Number one, it shows that Benga was keeping dirt on the prisoners in case any of them double crossed him, and he needed to burn himself as well as them. And then the other thing is it shows a level of arrogance with him. It shows further that this dude's on a power trip. Like, this is what I mean when I say show don't tell, because it'd be one thing if the prisoners are all like, oh, you know, he thinks he's hot shit, he thinks this, he thinks that, he thinks he's so incredible. That's all telling. Like, I hate when anime do this, in particular a series like Boruto. I hate when they do that, because when you just tell us this stuff, you're essentially essentially saying, okay, hi there boys and girls, you guys aren't intelligent enough to read in between the lines on this, so let's go ahead and spoon feed you all this information, and let's spoon feed you again to make sure that you understand it. So what I like by doing this is they show us the weakness of the character through his actions and his interactions with other people. No one directly says that he's on a power trip, but you as the viewer, you're able to put the pieces together. So him keeping that a ledger is just further proof that he had been so consumed with this power and so off of his game that he essentially thought that he wasn't going to get caught. So I like that element right there. I like how you're seeing more weaknesses with these characters. Now I think next week is going to be very big. You can basically look at next week as being the midway point of this prison arc, because you got to remember the prison arc of the Magina Bandits is only going to be 7 episodes. So now we're starting to get into the real meat. Now we're going to start getting to a point where next week is going to set up the final steps before you get to that climax. So I thought that, you know, having the revelation that somebody in Boruto's cell is the one who attacked Kokuri, I like that. I like that a lot, because what that is showing you is the fact that Boruto and Mitsuki, they thought that they were making the right choice. They thought that they were making the right choice for Kokuri, and yet they just put him in the lion's den. And while all the prisoners, they're basically on lockdown because the prison guards are tearing the prison up from top to bottom looking for the wooden card key. I think that the next big plot twist that we're going to be getting is the fact that either Boruto or Mitsuki or Kokuri, they're going to be the ones who have that wooden tag. Whoever has that tag that is in that prison with them, they're going to slip that into one of their possessions. More than likely it's going to be Boruto because of how this arc is going. Everything is revolving around Boruto. So I think that that's going to be interesting if it is Boruto he's put in solitary confinement, because I know that will be something kind of pays more homage to Blood Prison, and given the fact that the Boruto series pays a lot of homages to different things that have happened in Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, I think that that's going to be very interesting if they go this route. I'm going to be curious to see how they potentially play that off. But my episode question for you guys for this week is, what do you guys think about how the conflict was used for a majority of the arc, using that gamble that Boruto had to steal the light bulb for this episode, for the little mini arc in this episode? Do you think that was a strong enough conflict? How else would you have Boruto struggle in this episode if you had a chance to write it? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Have an awesome day, guys.